Hello there everyone, James here, welcoming you back for another update for our Elemental Dual Blades build. I'm a little late on this release because of my work, but mainly because I also have a rule on spoilers so you, the viewers, will not get spoiled from my content. As mentioned by Barney Stinson, you wait 3 days. And 3 days I waited. If you haven't been playing, the game received its first DLC update last April 28. With it opened so many possibilities in builds, because they gave us the ability to craft decorations for essential skills. Because of this update, you are no longer fully restricted to building solely around your talisman. Now, some of the armor skills I will mention may be considered spoilers. So if you don't want to be spoiled, you might want to come back after completing the update. Anyway, most of these can't be obtained without finishing the new content. As usual, before I begin, these are not considered meta builds. These are starting points for you to make your own builds. We all have our preferences based on how we hunt, so we will all have different priorities on the skills. These are also not at its most optimal state because of my current talismans. Without further ado, let's get started. So for the first build, I call this Full Elemental build. This is my most comfy and all-rounder build, and can be used with all elemental dual blades. Some will have less on its elemental decorations, but you can easily take out speed sharpening and use Great Wet Fish instead. But who am I kidding? You won't even need to use it if you're hunting right in this build. So here are the weapons I am using for these builds. I prioritize the weapons mainly with built-in affinity to get most out of the build. So let's get on with the armor. For the headgear, we're using Elegance Vertex S. For the chest, we're using Kaiser Mail. For the armpiece, we're using Duratudo's Vambrace. For the waist, we're using Chrome Metal Coil. For the footgear, we're using Arzuros S. The talisman I'm using is Latent Power 3 with 2 level 1 slots. This is my personal preference for my stamina management, and as a bonus, it gives an additional affinity every 2 minutes and 45 seconds, and lasts for 2 minutes as mentioned by Gaijin Hunter himself. You may easily mix-match this to your talisman of your choice, and you will just need to change some of the decorations. For my particular build, you will need these decorations: 5 of the elements you're using, 2 mastery, 3 tenderizer, 1 critical element, and 3 grinder jewels. This set gives you element attack 5, weakness exploit 3, latent power 3, critical element 3, master's touch 3, speed sharpening 3, and critical eye 1. I'll go over this in another video, but I will be using master's touch a lot on this and my next few builds. It is, in my opinion, the single most important skill in our build right now. I will be making a follow-up video on it, and I will put it on the card here when I'm done uploading it. Another thing I want to note is that the 3 slotted armors are going to be the key to so many of the builds. So do make an effort to craft them all soon. So moving on to the second build, I call this Flame Emperor or Empress. This one is element specific, mainly for fire, and it works best with the Rathalos dual blades. For the headgear, we're using Kaiser Crown. For the chest, we're using Kaiser Mail. For the armpiece, we're using Kaiser Vambrace. For the waist, we're using Chrome Metal Coil. For the footgear, we're using Kadachi Greaves. And the talisman I'm using is Constitution 3 with 1 level 2 and 1 level 1 slot. It just so happens that my talisman works on my build, but all you really need is the slot for you to fit in the jewels. You will need these decorations: 5 blaze, 2 mastery, and 3 tenderizer jewels. This set gives you Critical Eye 7, Fire Attack 5, Constitution 4, Weakness Exploit 3, Master's Touch 3, Critical Boost 2, and the new compound skill called Teostra's Blessing. Teostra's Blessing at level 2 gives you Fire Attack and Blast buildup 10%. You must be wondering, no speed sharpening? Well, if you're using this right, you won't need it at all. But if you do, you will need to fix your item loadout with Great Wetfish. For build number 3, I call this Mastercraft. The build is specific to weapons that have hidden white sharpness. So far, I only noticed 3 elemental dual blades that could utilize these. Specifically the Fortis Gran, aka the Dragon Guild blades, Zenogre blades, and the Mizutsune blades. For the headgear, we're using Kaiser Crown. For the chest, we're using Vike S. For the armpiece, we're using Sinister S. For the waist, we're using Chrome Metal Coil. And for the footgear, we're using Kadachi Greaves. The talisman I'm using is Weakness Exploit 2 with 1 level 1 slot. You will need these decorations: 5 of the elements, 3 mastery, 2 handicraft, and 1 tenderizer jewels. This set gives you Critical Eye 5, Element Attack 5, Handicraft 4, Weakness Exploit 3, Master's Touch 3, Critical Boost 1, and Constitution 1. If you have a better Weakness Exploit talisman, you can go even further by adding an additional Critical Eye or a Critical Boost. This time, you must be asking, no critical element? Only 1 critical boost? So, to quickly explain, White Sharpness has a multiplier for both the raw attack and the elemental attack at the same time. White gives raw attack boost of 32%, or 12% more than blue sharpness. For element attack, you get a 15% boost, or around 8.75% more than the blue sharpness. As you can see, raising your sharpness compensates for not having the other 2 skills, since it boosts both for just 1 skill. So then your next question is, why not Protective Polish over Master's Touch? Here is my explanation. While you get a fixed amount of your time for your attacks, you will only get to constantly hit the monster in perfect conditions. In most hunts, you're either dodging, trying to get closer to the monster, or healing, which will eat up the 90 seconds of your Protective Polish. The beauty of Master's Touch is, it is based off of your hits whenever you do critical damage. And with dual blades, even at 75 to 80% affinity, you will still be doing crits majority of the time. So another reason for using Master's Touch is, even with blue sharpness, you have more time before you need to sharpen, while when you use Protective Polish, you practically have to sharpen right away after the 90 seconds. As I mentioned earlier, I will post a video on Master's Touch soon, so make sure to check that out. So as usual, let me quickly demonstrate my build. For this one, I will be using build number 2.
That was close. I feel awesome! This is gonna hurt! There's an obedient fella! Okay, that's enough! This is the end for you! Here it comes! Let's go for a ride! See ya! Say goodbye! Let's make some fireworks. I put down a bomb. This is gonna hurt!
So what do you think of my Mark II builds for my elemental dual blades?
Piece of cake!
Would you use this for your own sets? If you liked the video and want to see more, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I have a couple more builds coming up, so make sure to catch those too. Till my next video, catch you in my next hunts.